I'm Summer Morris, CPA, ex-corporate accounting girl and health coach turned CEO of a multi-six-figure business while helping others build financial security, healthier habits, and a better quality of life. It wasn't that long ago I lacked the confidence, the right plan, and time to focus on growing my small but mighty business, while also having time for healthy activities I wanted to pursue away from my desk. Fast forward past many failures and lessons learned, and you'll see the healthier business and lifestyle I have today. One that changes lives while giving me more freedom than I ever thought possible. I created the Fit to Endure podcast to share simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies to help you do the same. So if you're looking to feel better, live a healthier life without blowing your budget, start a side hustle, or train for your next race, this show will help you make an impact and achieve your goals without creating the overwhelm and burnout that makes you want to quit. You ready? Let's get started. Hey guys, welcome to this episode of the Fit to Endure podcast. As always, I'm glad you're here. Today we're going to tackle a sticky but common challenge many of us face at work, dealing with customers or bosses who do not honor your boundaries around personal time. Now, it can be difficult to navigate this situation, but with the right approach, you can advocate for yourself while maintaining a positive and professional relationship. Are you ready? Let's dive in. So, I recently had an experience with a customer related to personal boundaries, which I wanted to discuss with you today to demonstrate how you can use some of the tools I share in this podcast in everyday life. And if it doesn't go perfectly, that's okay. So in episode 5, I discussed setting healthy boundaries and saying no to customers. And please remember, you can use these tools with others inside and outside the workplace. So the customer I'll be referring to in keeping their identity totally and respectfully private is a couple with whom I prepare taxes for. Now, this was the second year I prepared income taxes for them, and none of my processes or how I gather information from them or share information with them has changed from one year to the next. And my processes are communicated on my website's income tax preparation page, and in the engagement letter, all my clients review and e-sign, acknowledging they agree to the terms of my processes, procedures, all that good stuff. While preparing this client's 2023 taxes, using the information they uploaded to my secure portal, I noticed I was missing a crucial piece of information for an investment account they had in their prior year taxes. So essentially, because I prepared their 2022 taxes, I had a list of all the different accounts that they had investments in and income in and all that good stuff. So when I prepared their 23 taxes and noticed, oh no, I didn't get information for this particular account that had some decent income in it the prior year, I reached out to the client in an email and said, hey, I didn't get a copy of this statement. Of course, I didn't use the word hey, I'm just saying it with you here. So anyway, after several attempts to request this information from the client for this specific account, but still not getting what I needed to finish the return, the customer sent me a text message at 7:45 on Friday night and said, can we get on a phone call to discuss the matter quickly? He said, I'm leaving later tonight for a week-long international trip, and I will not be available for phone calls or emails until I get back from this week-long trip. Now, mind you, as I'm looking at this text message from him saying, hey, I need to talk to you on this Friday night, I'm thinking about this quote I heard many years ago. It's just running through my mind. If you know me personally, you're probably going to say it with me. Here it is. Poor planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part. Again, poor planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part. Now that quote's from a gentleman named Bob Carter. I don't know him personally. When I looked him up years ago, I saw that he was a geologist, a marine biologist, and this quote of poor planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part has been echoed numerous times in the business community. If you like it, write it down, use it. I love it. So during this phone call, yep, I made the phone call to the client. During this late night phone call, I could hear the spouse on the speakerphone, and I was verbally guiding the couple so they could see on my secure portal, click on this file. Yep, that's the one you uploaded. Now you could see it's that account number. Okay, click on this file over there. Yep, that one. Now you see that that's a copy of what you sent me the year before, and that has account number 123. And what you're sending me is different. I'm looking for that one, a copy of the one just like last year. But you can hear the wife verbally getting frustrated in the background. And what do I mean by frustrated? I mean, there's F-bombs darted in my direction. Her explicit frustration that she was repeatedly sending me the same thing over and over again, but it was not what I was looking for. So as this is happening, as you could feel the energy escalating on the other end of the call, remaining calm and using the breath work I learned in yoga, I explained I was on the call with them outside of normal working hours to help them, especially given their plans to leave the country for a week, which I wasn't aware of before this recent text message, and that perhaps we weren't a good fit for one another. Let's just work through this return together. Let's get the information I need, seal up your taxes together, and, figure it out from there. Because the processes I use in my online accounting practice may not be a good fit for how they want to be serviced, and that is okay. It is totally okay. That if they're looking for more of a paper-intensive, physical tax office person to go work with and see face-to-face on a regular basis, then we're not a good fit. But you know what? It's not a one-size-fits-all world, and that is okay. So after our call, the client uploaded more information, and they texted me around 9 p.m. to say they uploaded more information and wanted me to check it as soon as possible. What did I do? I honored my boundaries and went to bed. Nighty-night. By 9 p.m., my phone was plugged in, charged, face down, off, maybe alarm clock for the next morning, but it was not going to see me until Saturday morning. And I didn't do this as a way of punishing the client, but as a way of honoring my self-care needs, my rest. The following morning on Saturday, I got up and reviewed their tax documents, which is what I was looking for. I updated their tax file and sent it to them through the portal, along with a separate email to let them know I would be available Monday afternoon after sending them this updated tax file on Saturday morning, but not before then. But I continued to receive emails and phone calls and voicemails from the spouse with additional questions unrelated to this 2023 tax return, questions related to future tax planning, other things that maybe the former tax person do. Did they do it correctly? I don't know. Do they want me to review it? I don't know. But many, many questions and emails came my way. Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, Sunday morning. I was starting to feel like collection calls. Sunday afternoon. These just continued throughout my personal time on this weekend. So I'm curious, have you ever found yourself in a situation where a customer or boss is encroaching upon your personal time? If you have, it's important to remember that setting personal boundaries respectfully and assertively is so crucial for your personal well-being. How can you do this? First, assess the situation and determine its impact on your well-being. Are you feeling overwhelmed, stressed, or resentful because your personal time is not being respected? I know I was starting to feel resentful and foolish for making that Friday evening call because I believe we teach others how they can treat us. And I demonstrated with this client in my attempt to, quote, help them in their pre-emergency tax stuff that they now can communicate with me outside of my normal working hours. That sure, it says in my email signature that I'm available from this time to this time and this is when I return calls. But don't worry, because if you send me a text message around 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night, especially on a Friday or Saturday, I'll get back to you, right? Is that what you want to teach people? I doubt it. So what did I do? The same thing you can. So the next step I took was to email the couple to request that we schedule a time to have a conversation via Zoom. I included a link to my online calendaring tool in the email. I believe the best way to address an issue like this is in person. So if you normally interact face-to-face or in person, great. If you work virtually together like I do with this client, then a video call would be fantastic. That way we can ensure clear communication and understanding. Now start by expressing appreciation for the opportunity to work together or their friendship if it's a personal relationship, and then gently explain how their actions affect you. Here's an example of how you can communicate your boundaries. Dear so-and-so, I value our working relationship and am dedicated to providing the best service possible. However, I've noticed there have been instances where work-related requests have encroached on my personal time. Maintaining a separation between my work and personal time is crucial for my well-being and productivity. So moving forward, I would appreciate it if we can understand that work-related tasks will be addressed during normal working hours, You can certainly leave me a voicemail or an email outside of work hours, but just have that understanding that my communication to you will be returned during my stated work hours. Remember to maintain a calm and professional tone throughout the conversation. Approach the situation with empathy and understanding while asserting your boundaries. Acknowledge that the other person may not even be aware of the impact their actions are having on you, and allow them an opportunity to respond. And finally, collaborate on finding a solution that works for both parties. This could involve setting an appointment during work hours to discuss future matters, or helping them find another service provider who might be a better fit for their needs. By engaging in a constructive dialogue, you can establish a mutually respectful relationship that honors professional responsibilities and personal boundaries. Now, before I reached out to the client to schedule this Zoom call to talk to help get me grounded and centered, I spent some time using the tools I shared with you in episode 8, the CTFAR, and the 3 questions to determine my decision on how to proceed with them. If you have yet to listen to episode 8, I highly recommend doing so after you listen to this. I also create a free bonus handout that aligns with this episode, and it mentions episode 8. So you can go to this handout and it'll refer you to the episode 8 as like a nice little reminder. You can find the bonus handout for this episode at summermorris.com/10. That's summermorris.com/ and the number 10. Now, before we dive into a brief recap of the CTFAR, if you're like, what the heck is CTFAR? Don't worry, I'm going to do a brief recap and you're going to be able to visualize it in action. But first, before we do that, we're going to take a quick pause for a brief commercial break for my health and weight reset, which happens to include training on how you can regulate your breathing when you're feeling stressed. When dieting and stress become unmanageable, try evidence-based tools to tackle weight loss and feelings of overwhelm in a healthier way with the Health and Weight Reset. This online group coaching program includes a simple, done-for-you eating, movement, and stress management plan, plus evidence-based tools, support, and accountability. This program is not about counting calories or portion control. It's not about buying special potions or packaged foods. It's about learning what works for your unique body and mindset and what doesn't, so you can feel better, have more energy, and become a better, healthier version of you. The program is risk-free with a 100% money-back guarantee that you will feel better after completing this program. Learn more at summermorris.com/reset. That's summermorris.com/RESET. Okay, here's a recap. CTFAR is a self-coaching framework that I learned from the founder of the Life Coach School, and it has 5 components: C for circumstances, T for thoughts, F for feelings, A for actions, R for results. If you're like, wait, you're going too fast, don't worry, it's in that handout, summermorris.com/10. All right, CTFAR. Its basic premise is that your thoughts produce your feelings fuel your actions, and your actions create your results. So in my experience with the client on the phone, it's late at night, frustrated, expressing energy and words that felt out of line for our business relationship. It could have been easy to amplify my energy to that same negative, frustrating tone. But here I am. I'm sacrificing my evening to try to serve them. And instead of it becoming a positive investment, it could have easily become a negative experience. Or I could find the lesson in this opportunity and see if there's a way to salvage what could be a good relationship going forward. Using the CTFAR, we start with a C line to describe the circumstance. The circumstance is something of truth that if it were brought into a court of law, the court would say, yep, that's fact. That actually happened. So my C line for the circumstance was phone call with tax client outside normal working hours where client demonstrated hostility and language not appropriate for a business relationship. From there, I wrote out the R line, the result I wanted to achieve. To help guide me in this situation, I've reverted back to my personal mission statement that I created for my life a few years back, which included helping people build financial security and a better quality of life. My R line for the result was help clients with their annual income tax packages while respecting my boundaries for time and tone. This meant helping the client with their taxes during my normal working hours without receiving inappropriate communication for our working relationship. From there, I worked the CTFAR model from the bottom up. So we had the C for circumstance, phone call with tax client outside normal working hours. And from the bottom up, I completed it, so now I'm going to show you all of it. So we had the phone call with tax client outside normal working hours. The T for the thoughts, I am modeling healthy behavior to my clients, and by having time for myself and my personal life, I can show up better for them when it's time for work. The F for feelings that I wrote down is I am supporting the client with their income tax needs while honoring and respecting my boundaries for my time away from work. My A for actions was update the income tax letter, the one I send out to my tax clients, and include my office hours, explicitly include when they can expect to receive responses from me. Because even though it's in the signature of my email, I respond to emails and phone calls during these dates and times, having a little more explicit on that tax engagement letter will help just make it a little more clear. So that if they send me a message at 7:30 p.m. or 8:30 p.m. on a Friday or Saturday, that they don't expect a response from me that night or even that weekend. And that R, the result, was help clients by preparing their annual income tax package while respecting my boundaries for time and tone. So there you have it, my CTFAR for this circumstance, where I'm experiencing the client becoming heated and triggered and angry and frustrated, F-bombs coming my way. I did not allow that to escalate my behavior, my energy, and to parallel or mirror what they were sending out to me. I used that CTFAR to say, okay, here's the circumstance. Here's what's happening with this client or my interpretation of it. Here's the result that I really want for this experience. And then using CTFAR from the bottom up to create the opportunity for the positive experience, that healthy experience that I'm hoping to achieve with them. And knowing that the result, the outcome can be completely different than what we might originally think it would be. You know, if the result is, how do I get rid of this client because clearly we're not a good fit, you might find that working with that CTFAR might shape you into, okay, with this particular client, I just need to be a little more explicit on certain things, but otherwise we can have a very healthy relationship together. You know, it's just looking at how can we remedy the situation so it's good for all parties. And mind you, this was the first time I had a phone call with both the husband and wife on the phone. Before, for the past year and a half, all of my calls or communications have been with the husband, and they've been easygoing, free, comfortable, smooth. And so knowing that this was so out of alignment with what we'd had before, was it possibly due to the time of day of our call? Was it due to the pressure that they were experiencing before their long travels? And was this how all calls were going to be when they were together on the phone? I really didn't know. So in addition to using the CTFAR tool that I just shared with you, I also used the 3 questions, those 3 questions I shared with you back in episode 8, which are what worked, what didn't work, and what would I do differently? And mind you, the CTFAR tool, you can use it in various business circumstances. You can also use it in a ton of personal circumstances. And these 3 questions are the same way. You can use them in business or personal. And they are what worked, what didn't work, and what would I do differently? What worked? The tax preparation was done. What didn't work? A hostile phone call outside of normal working hours, upset feelings held by the client, and feelings that I had that I was giving up part of my evening to try to serve them, and that overall it felt like a wasted effort. What would I do differently? Explicitly communicate in that tax letter I keep mentioning that for future taxes, having those office hours on there, I will be responding to emails and phone calls during these explicit work hours so that if you reach out to me outside of those, that's okay, you can, but just know I'll respond to you during those explicit work hours. Well, my friends, that's a wrap for today's episode. I hope these tips help you navigate difficult conversations around boundaries in the workplace and in your personal life. And no, if you don't get it right the first time, it's okay. We're just going to focus on progress, not perfection. Remember, advocating for yourself is essential to your self-care and maintaining a healthy work environment. So I'd love to hear from you. If you give these a try, let me know how it goes. And if there's any hiccups along the way, or you have any questions on how to dig deeper into these, you can send those questions to me at podcast@summermorris.com. That's podcast@summermorris.com. I also created that free bonus handout for you that aligns with this episode that you can find at summermorris.com/10. That's summermorris.com/ and the number 10. If you'd like to work with me privately on setting healthier boundaries, you can schedule a phone consultation at summermorris.com. That's all for now, beautiful people. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and click subscribe to the podcast so next week's episode can be effortlessly delivered to the app you use for podcasts. Bye-bye for now. Namaste.